Hello.
There you go.
We're on.
Scuba diver?
What's that?
Scuba diver?
Is it
Just for fun?
just for fun? But it's the Seiko, you know, it's not the Rolex. Are you a scuba diver?
It's a professional one. Let's see.
I'll get started. We're gonna figure out the screen. In any case, thank you all for coming. My name is Jeff Israely. I'm the editor of Worldcrunch, which is a global news site based in Paris. We've got a panel here on photojournalism. We call it a decisive moment, which is a reference to Henri Cartier-Bresson. For those who know about him, we'll get onto him in a bit. But let me introduce the other members of the panel. We have Sears, who's Special Projects Director for Magnum Photo. We have Gaba, who's a photo editor for the Wall Street Journal in London. And we have Francesco Zizola, who is a founder and photographer for the Noor photo agency. He's based in Rome. And we'll speak most... No?
Yes, we have
That's my family. And that's my family. No? Okay. There we go. View, no. Where's presentation? Hold on a second. Et voila. Okay. A decisive moment, reimagining photojournalism for a digital future. We want to keep the conversation both broad in terms of trying to imagine how the future is going to be, but also specific in actually how it is right now, how photojournalists, photo editors, photo agencies do their work, how that's changing, how the business of photojournalism is changing, what the challenges. I'm sure you're all hearing about challenges across all sectors and activities in the media. There's certainly those challenges and more in photojournalism. And so I wanted to start. I'll just open things up just for a bit of background. I'm a former foreign correspondent. Spent much of my time in Rome and also in Paris, and worked for Time Magazine, which is about as good an introduction to photojournalism as you can get. I always would say, I'm not sure about the articles, but I know we've got the best photos in the business, and gave me a chance to work with great photographers and get a bit of an appreciation for what goes into their work, working side by side with them. I'm currently the co-founder and editor of a global news website called Worldcrunch, and we've got a new project that's all around photojournalism. I'll give you guys a little bit of a peek at that later on, and so that's thrown me right back into this world, and I'm glad to be here. So I wanted to first sort of just lay out some of the context and the basics, let's put it that way. So those who know American history are maybe aware that we're coming up in June on 50 years since the assassination of Robert Kennedy, one of the many big anniversaries, 50-year anniversaries this year. There is a chapter in the history of photojournalism around this news event that I thought was a way to sort of open up our discussion. When Kennedy was shot, it was just after he had won the California primary, and it was in a public setting filled with reporters, filled with photographers who thought they were there just to shoot a press conference. And the photographers, and instead we had this tragic event, and it was captured by a life photographer named Bill Epridge, and that's a hotel employee who rushed to Kennedy's side. But there's another chapter in terms of photojournalism around this this news event. Some days later, his funeral took place in New York, and the plan was that his body was then going to be transported by train down to Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia. There were photographers, I think 2 photographers and 1 videographer, they didn't call it videographer then, cameraman, on the train who thought that they were going to simply be there to shoot, get footage and images of the family and the coffin. It turned out that there was a spontaneous rush of outpouring of people who lined the tracks all the way down the eastern seaboard to pay homage to Kennedy. Now, I'm first going to show you the video image of that. And we will be talking about video today, but our focus really is on photography. But let's start with video here. So I don't think we have audio, so it's not a technical issue. This is the video footage. This is the train. And the photographers and the cameramen both realized that this was something important, that all of these people had shown up, and they captured it. And so this is the video footage. You know, you see what's happening. It's covering the event, marking it, noting the news. But these are not the images we remember from this event. Those instead, oops, let's see, were photographs, still photos taken by Paul Fusco, who was working for Look magazine, which no longer exists, a weekly magazine. And he right away saw that this was something to capture. And he shot endless rolls of film along the way and captured this event in a way that video could never capture. And so I thought that this was a way, just as a starting point, so we can all agree that still photography can do something that no other medium can do, and that's still the case today. And so there is a reason that still photography is still with us, still matters, and something we should figure out how to keep with us in all its forms. And so that's just a quick introduction to sort of agree on a starting point about what still photography has the power to do. And we have a nice segue here because Paul Fusco, who's in his 80s and living in New York, is soon after this became a longtime Magnum photographer. Magnum, the Magnum photography agency, as many of you know, needs no introduction, but it's it was founded by Henri Cartier-Bresson and Robert Capa, and it really is helped really build the history of photojournalism and photography. And it is still going strong, based in Paris, with an office in London, where Fran works. And what's that?
New York and Tokyo.
New York and Tokyo as well. And still doing this kind of work wherever possible, but other kinds of work as well. And so I'm gonna pass the microphone and the cord over to Fran.
Hello, hello.
No, that was my fault. I didn't follow instructions. That was me. We're going to leave about 15, 20 minutes, hopefully, even maybe a little bit more at the end for any questions you all have.
Okay, thanks. Hello, hello. Okay, so thank you for the introduction. So Magnum Photos is 70 years old. We celebrated our 70th anniversary last year. So we've been telling stories about the world for over 70 years now. And I guess for this talk, I wanted to talk particularly about the role of digital media for us and what we're doing with it now, how we're using it to tell stories, and what it's opened up for us in terms of reaching new audiences. So I thought I'd start by just showing you a little bit of some of the very best of the photo essays that we've done in the last few years with media partners, where we've really used the power of being online to reach a much wider audience and to tell stories in a more interactive and comprehensive way. So this first one is a partnership we did with MSNBC, a photographer called Matt Black, who traveled around the US, covering something like 90,000 miles by the end of his trip. He's looking at poverty in the US, and he covered all the way around the perimeter of the states, and then he went from corner to corner. And I guess what I wanted to show with this piece of work is just how comprehensive you can be and how long form you can get into the detail, you can write text, you can show an immense number of images, which you would otherwise not be able to show, unfortunately, in print media today. I wonder if we can get this any larger. Okay. So you get a sense of really building all the aspects to tell a very interactive, comprehensive piece of work where you actually can show data, you can show video. I think we get some here. Yeah, the internet's a bit slow. Okay, so it enables you to do all sorts of things. On the MSNBC homepage, in fact, this was a module that lived there for nearly 4 years. So people returned again and again as he traveled on his trip. And during the journey, he also would take images and put them on his Instagram. So as he's traveling around, he's also growing the audience that is going to then be following him through the rest of his journey and understanding and evolving the story with him. Yeah, I don't actually have the internet.
Do you, USB?
Oh. Sorry about this. Okay, there we go. Now you have moving image. What we're all about here. Okay.
I said only
still images. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, I do want to talk about the multiplicity because yes, I feel strongly about the power of the still image. And so when you show Paul Fusco's images versus the moving image, to me, I mean, we can debate it, but I think the way the brain works, you hold in your mind the still image for longer than perhaps you remember the video. So anyway, here we have a bit of moving image. So it's enabling the audience and the reader to be a lot more present in the places that Matt was visiting. So here you go, you get a sense. And then you go on chapter by chapter. So this audience with MSNBC and Matt, they followed him for 4 years, and in a way that we couldn't do before. Then on this piece of work, again, actually was a partnership with MSNBC. So back in 2015, Magnum as an agency felt, rightly so, as part of our DNA, we wanted to cover the refugee crisis in Europe. So a number of photographers, maybe 8 photographers, without assignments at that point in time from any media partner, went out into Europe and to the Middle East and started covering the issues around the refugee crisis, the origins of why people were leaving the Middle East, but also looking at how, their journeys and, their arrival points into Europe. With MSNBC, we partnered to create a 10-part photo essay called Continental Drift. And again, this was a module on the homepage. So this enabled us to do much more in-depth analysis, actually not just of the refugee crisis, we then broadened it out to do patterns of global migration. So it was the starting point for us. And we actually co-funded this. So Magnum created what they call a content budget, where we, along with partners in the media, actually created new stories. So no longer do we feel that we can rely upon traditional press to actually support, no personal, to support us in making these assignments anymore. But of course, that's part of the DNA of the agency, to try and get out there and cover what are, you know, important issues of our day. So we go on and we make 10 different essays here. Another partnership, if anyone's interested, I can by all means share these links somehow so that you can actually have a proper look at them. Then, as part of our 70th anniversary, it was also the anniversary, 40 years of VSD, the magazine in France. And we created, again, 10 essays on contemporary France in the run-up to the election. Again, something that we would never normally be able to do just in print media. And that also included video. Another example of quite an intensive, extensive, incredible piece of work was by Paolo Pellegrin and Scott Anderson. This was a work which it covers work from over 14 years covering in the Middle East. But in this particular project, they spent 2 years creating news stories where they followed people in their individual stories from those that were suffering and experiencing life in the Middle East. This was an entire magazine of the New York Times Magazine, and then became a huge, great piece online that, again, people could follow, had interaction. I think it was the first time that they had ever done virtual reality, which unfortunately I can't show you here, but if you go onto the site, Fractured Lands, New York Times, you can actually see the VR, and it's incredible. So that was that. So then to take it back to Magnum, so for us, being able to speak directly to our audiences, understanding much more who we're wanting to speak with, we ended up creating 2 different sites. So we have Magnum Photos, which is the pro site for people that want to come and buy our pictures. And then we have what is actually now the basic URL, magnumphotos.com, which is for everybody. So it's for anyone interested in photography, people interested in current affairs, people interested in art photography. It's, you know, it's our fan base, it's our readership. And so now we're able to create essays which speak much more directly to our audiences, rather than relying upon third parties. So this is just an example. We basically have split up what we call the B2C site, so the business to consumer site. And we actually regularly speak with the audience to understand what it is that they care about knowing from us. So a lot of that is to do with behind the scenes with the photographers. You know, where are you adding value? You're telling, you know, maybe the same story as you might see in the media, but from a different angle, or bringing additional experience of the photographer and potentially the writer. We also include lots of third parties on the site, so we try as much as possible to have other experts in their field. So it could be a novelist, it could be somebody that knows a great deal about migration patterns, for example, and we try and incorporate that. Then, in fact, I've talked about it partially earlier. When we created the site, we started creating content by ourselves, originating stories, but also, you know, still working with our media partners in order to create slightly wider, longer form stories, because neither of us really have quite enough money, but together we could actually send the photographers, or in this case, we did a piece of work with 2 different photographers visiting a north of England at the time of Brexit, and they actually, this place in England, Smethwick, voted to leave. So we did a piece both with The Guardian and ourselves. We had a young photographer, Diana Marcosian, who went and actually spoke with people and understood from a community, case-by-case, you know, much more intimate basis why people voted the way they did, and looked at a cross-section of society. And then we had Mark Power, who came along and actually did a much more architectural, he would hate me for that, architectural look at the geography of the industrial town. And then The Guardian was able to go along, they would send a writer. Actually, they used one of our colleagues, and they would do a different take on it. And so that was the beauty. And each, in this case, would link to each other's site. So you're growing your audiences by virtue of sharing different viewpoints, but on the same subject. And am I all right?
You're good.
Okay. Slightly different beast. So this was Amnesty International came to us via an advertising agency, actually, Ogilvy and Mather. And they wanted to create a campaign around having people sign up to require the government to take action in terms of accepting more refugees and migrants into the UK in this case. And so what we did was we sent out 2 photographers, Moises Saman and Michael Christopher Brown, with a team of people, one in Kenya and one in Lebanon, into the camps there. And actually, with a great deal of help, as a large team, not just us, they were looking at people, average Joe, you and I, saying, oh my God, the refugee crisis, it's hideous. Oh my God, I have so much sympathy for you. And then they would take that person's individual tweet and they would find somebody that was willing, a refugee in the camp, and actually make a short tweet video response. Thank you very much for your empathy or your sympathy. I appreciate you thinking about us, but please take action. And they would hold up a banner. And this, I suppose, I just wanted to bring this up because obviously the power of growing our audience and growing the fact that we have so many followers now, 5 million followers on 3 different social media platforms, meant that Magnum was also able to help with some campaigning and able to reach to a much wider audience. That's partly why, and also the individual photographers in this case, able to speak to a much greater and different and specific demographic here. Kind of spoke about this a bit already, but one of the key things that we can do on the site, which I guess you wouldn't normally find in the traditional press, is we can give tips to photographers. So many of you may be aspiring or established photographers, and it's quite nice. And actually, this is one of our most frequented pages, and it's Magnum photographers giving some tips about using social media and other things, and that's one of our very best parts. Yes, tell me.
You good?
I've got a tiny bit more.
Go.
And then I suppose to sort of slightly bring it around, so, yes, we have the site and we're able to speak directly to the audiences, so we sell things. But one of the things that's quite interesting, which actually isn't quite on this page, but we sell what we call distros, which are, it's basically harking back to the original print distribution. So back in the day, you might come in, you would have film, you would edit it down to maybe 10 and 20 of your best pictures, and those would be created into small prints that would then go out to all the newspapers, and then they would decide which images they wanted. So we're talking about a while ago, right?
Yeah.
So now we're almost harking back to that pre-digital age and creating objects for people, almost like thinking, in a historical element and looking back. And then non-Magnum things I thought just worth, interesting and mentioning. So something like medium.com has enabled all sorts of different organizations, players, a lot of NGOs who use this site to actually create their own microsites. So I think something that we'll talk about later about trusted media. And you don't necessarily know who's using this portal. It's an unregulated site, but it has enabled a lot of UN bodies, NGOs, small newspapers and magazines to actually create a place on their own on the site. This I love, so Disturb, I don't know if many of you heard of them, but so all sorts of interesting ways to kind of disrupt the usual patterns by actually creating large format images that they then plaster on walls around cities and create campaigns and just bring photojournalism right out into the public. And then an example which again I love, which is, it comes out of California, it's the California Sunday magazine, and instead of just doing the print form of the magazine, they now do a live show of it. So they then tour the show, and they'll have photographers, they'll have writers, they'll have novelists, they'll have poets and musicians, and come and literally bring alive the photo essays, which I think is wonderful. And that's me.
Super.
That's me.
I'm gonna thank you for that. Super efficient and thorough. I'm sure there's a whole lot more, but. Look at where Magnum is and some of the did I just drop that? Did it fall down there? Sorry about that. Of where Magnum is and the new ways you're approaching the work, and I think are we good? Oh, okay, we're good. Okay, our next speaker is Dan Gaba, who's photo editor for Wall Street Journal in London. But when someone suggested to me that Dan might be great for this panel, they also talked about his Instagram account. So Dan is wears 2 hats on this panel. Both to tell us what it looks like from inside a daily news organization, a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week news organization, trying, Magnum has the luxury sometimes of taking taking a year, or did you say 12 years, or 4 years, or a month, or what have you. But as we all know, the news cycle is ticking all the time. And so, you know, the same goals, I'm sure, are driving Dan's work for the Wall Street Journal. But what's interesting as well is he's also, and it was interesting, the initiative you have with Magnum giving tips, because I love Dan's Instagram account, not only for his great photos, which, by the way, now include film, actual film, but also some great interaction with his 28,000 some odd followers, in terms of really bringing the process of thinking about photographs directly to people. You know, in the old days, in the old media, the public, the audience, got the sort of final product, and it was a bit of a mystery how it got created, and that's less and less true. And I think Dan's a great example. This photo, I'll just, if you can't read it, I don't know. He says, "I really love this shot." And by the way, he doesn't love all his shots, and he posts shots that he has problems with, and it's a real interesting account to follow. I really love this shot. Part of my 5 rolls of film yesterday. This is what can happen when I just keep shooting and stop editing. I saw this pic come off the spool when I developed the roll and thought, well, I don't know what I got, but it looks cool, and I'm glad I got it out of my own way and just took it. In a photo rut, shoot through it. So there's some great coaching right there on the spot. And so, Dan, tell us a bit about these 2 hats you wear. Let's I guess maybe start with the Instagram. So you're a photographer and a photo editor, and tell us about how you think about your Instagram.
All right. Well, cool. Well, thanks, and thanks everybody for coming out today. You don't have to be here on a spring night on a mountaintop in Italy, but you are, and it's really encouraging as all of us who, you know, in an industry that's dying for money, to see all these people in here wanting to be with us and telling stories and so on. So I'm really happy to see this. This is great. It's kind of like we're in a band or something. It's like awesome. But thank you very much for all the press for my Instagram feed. I started out answering the telephones at the New York Times with a history degree, and I didn't study photography at all. And so I answered the phones for lots of famous photographers, people who I did not know who they were, but famous people who were around me, and monumental photographers and photo editors. And for a long time, I didn't think I was good enough to be a photo editor. And then I got the opportunity at the Wall Street Journal, and I didn't know that I didn't think I could be good enough to be a photographer, because I was working with all these very famous people and very established people. And I eventually went through some tough times in my life, and I was just so tired of being sad and seeing sad things all the time. So I made a point to see something good every day, and I had to get it out of my system. And so I put it on Instagram, and people started to like that, which I'm very flattered and humbled, and it's wonderful. And so I've been able to build up a little bit of a following with that, and it's been great. And it's been something that I do that has only made me a better photo editor, because now when I ask somebody to take a photograph, I have an idea of what they're going through. I'm not saying that I know exactly, but I have an idea. I know that, you know what, you got a shot that I cannot believe you got. You did not get a shot that you should have gotten. Why didn't you get that? This is amazing. This, you can do better, because everyone else has done better, and I don't need this one, so I'll go to the next one. We go back and forth. But as far as the Instagram feed, that's just my personal thing. I have very specific parameters that I have to follow at the Wall Street Journal, the accuracy, the can't doctor an image, things that we take for granted, but things that we take extremely seriously where I work. And with the Instagram feed, I can do whatever I want. I had not liked any of the photos that I'd taken recently, so I got 5 rolls of the cheapest film, and I brought out this camera, and thank you. And it's an Olympus XA film camera. It's 100 pounds with the flash. You got to provide the film. But I went to my favorite camera store and I bought a big box of Kodak 200 expired film, and because it's really cheap. And then I looked on YouTube and I figured out how to develop film in my kitchen with a bucket. And then there's a great film lab and film community and film store where I live in London, in Brixton, a place called Parallax and Photo Fusion. And they sold me the chemicals, and they told me that I could do it. And they said if I messed up, it doesn't matter because they could help me out. So then I had to figure out, apparently I did color film, which is apparently really hard. I don't know if anybody's done that, but it's like the hardest one to do because you're supposed to do black and white first because it looks cooler, apparently. But then also you don't have to do the temperature thing is right. This is a little technical, but it gets somewhere, I swear. And then so I went on YouTube again, and I found that this guy, it's like you got to keep the heat right in your water when you're getting all the chemicals right. So I found this guy who got a sous vide cooker. Do you know what that is? You know what a sous vide cooker? It's like a plunger, and you put it down in the bucket. And because before, a lot of people, what they do is they get an aquarium heater, like the one that would like kill fish, the one you don't want, but it keeps the temperature right, like kill fish temperature. That's what you need for the film. But then you got to hack that. And I'm like, well, how much is this going to cost for me to hack a thing I already bought that's new? And am I going to get electrocuted? And then I found this guy on YouTube with the sous vide cooker. You put that in, you dial it up like a jacuzzi for your film. People think I'm a genius. I put it in there, and then I put some music on. I put the iPhone timer on, and at the end of it, I get 5 rolls of this. I went out at 10 in the morning. I didn't stop until I'd shot all 5 rolls, and I was exhausted. I walked 10 miles and 30,000 steps. I went home. I live alone. So I went home, and I said, okay, took a breath, and then I put all of the, processed all the film, and then I bought a refurbished scanner off Amazon, and at the end of 12, 13 hours-ish, about 3 a.m., listening to really random 80s music, just because I was going with it, and at the end of it, I had lots of pictures that I took, that I liked. That was a story that I was trying to tell, that a camera was trying to tell me, and that I enjoyed. I took it with a film camera because I'd gotten bored with the digital camera. I like digital cameras a lot. They're amazing. I wanted to do something different. This is all stuff I can't do at work, that maybe you can't do at work. But when I went into work to talk about photojournalism, to practice photojournalism, I was inspired. I was invigorated. I enjoyed it. I had an opinion. I liked it. I didn't like it. It was my photo. I could do what I want to with it. If you like it, I want to share it with you. If you don't like it, I'm interested to know why. Ultimately, I don't care because it's my photo. If you don't like the photo, you should go take one of your own, and then we'll see what you can do with it. And I don't mean that as like to be confrontational, but I mean this is yours. This is you telling a story. And if you want to know why a camera can take a story that a video machine can't do, that a writer can't do, then why don't you tell me? I don't need to tell you why a photograph is good. I don't need to tell you why a photograph works when something else could work better. You have to tell me, and you have to tell yourself. And whatever you do to do that, do it. Experiment, play with it, enjoy it. It's actually fun. It's a lot of fun. And plus, you get to tell stories. You get to tell stories in a way that you want to tell. And if you follow your gut, if you follow your heart, if you keep going in the direction that you want to go, if you keep going in the direction that you will not be paid for, it's great. Because if nobody's paying you to do it, and I'm assuming a lot of people are not getting paid or paid well in this room, that is a gift. You think it's not a gift. You think it's this horrible thing. And it is. You're all geniuses, and everybody should recognize that. And absolutely. But the pressure that's off when nobody's paying you, when your rent doesn't depend upon you taking a good or bad picture, is pretty amazing. And if no one's expecting you to take a certain type of picture, it's such a relief. And I mean that especially yourself. If you're not expecting to take one in a certain way, it's such a relief. And you should probably let this thing flow a little bit. I took that picture at too slow a shutter speed, and the f-stop was all messed up. I don't know. The light was crazy, but that guy was cool looking. And then I didn't do that on purpose. I'm just going to tell you right now. But the camera did, and I was holding the camera, so I had something to do with it. But I saw that when I unspooled it from my kitchen sink, and I had fun, and I enjoyed it. And I had a picture before this with bunny ears that people went nuts for, and I liked that picture too, but I like this picture more. And not as many people like this picture, and that's okay. But I like this picture a lot, and that satisfied me. And so I think what gets lost a lot of times when we talk about photography is that we need to tell that these are stories that you're telling me. So please know the story that you're telling, and then please tell it to me. And my job as a photo editor is to have a discussion with you about it. And then we can go on, and we can keep going. My job is not to tell you it's good or bad. My job is to tell you, if that's the story you're telling me, you're not telling it. If that's the story you're telling me, you are nailing it, and you should go back and do it. And that's how we can get stories out of one another. And I can talk about Wall Street Journal stuff later on, but maybe we keep the conversation going.
That's so. No. It's a great way to tell the story of being a photo editor via this very personal experience, and it's fascinating. And at this point, let's move over to Francesco. I'm going to switch to Italian. Cambiamo
as you like, but
no.
The audience is Italian.
Italian, no. And continuiamo per un po' in italiano e torneremo in inglese.
Maybe the problem is for
if you
them.
guys want, you have. Allora, Francesco Zizola è un professionista, un fotografo con grande esperienza, che ha fatto grande reportage da tanti anni. E la cosa che Francesco voleva cominciare è che noi vediamo, parliamo e continuiamo a concentrarci sulle immagini fisse, still image, ma lui ha fatto questo multimedia video intorno alla fotografia, che è qua. Avevi un'idea che discuteremo dopo, forse un po' più preciso di Dan e i suoi 5 ruoli ma cominciamo con il video stesso. C'è volume? 3 minuti. Arriva.
Audio. Chiudi. Stop it. Rinizia.
Così qua, sì, no, tornerò. questo vado. Ok, ricominciamo.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello, sir. Please, someone help us. Our life is in risk.
Okay. Give me your position.
What is the position, please?
Don't cry. Try to stay calm. No, don't cry, don't cry. Try to stay calm. Give me your position.
314.
314.
Sir?
Hello?
Hello, sir?
We need help! We need help! People are dying!
Okay, no, don't worry, don't worry. I contact my authority for you. Don't worry. Keep calm, okay?
Please, we need them right now! Right now, we need them! The women are dying! The men are dying! Children are dying! Everybody is dying!
How many people are dying?
How many people are dying? Now we have 10 dying! 10!
10. You have
10 are dying now.
10. You have on board 10 people dying people.
Yes! People are dying now!
Allora, Francesco, sono curioso di capire un paio di cose su questo progetto in sé, che magari ci può illuminare su che vuol dire.
C'è qualcosa che suona. Ecco, voilà.
Che vuol dire di fare fotografo oggi? Raccontaci un po' di come è nato questo lavoro specifico e poi il prodotto, questo modo di fare, di raccontare, di utilizzare la fotografia insieme con il video, audio, eccetera. E l'idea sia al pubblico, ma anche il processo, come l'hai fatto, insomma.
Dunque, intanto grazie per avermi invitato qui e grazie per essere così numerosi oggi a questa conferenza. E, diciamo che non è stato un progetto, io ho ricevuto una richiesta da parte di un'organizzazione umanitaria non governativa che si chiama Medici Senza Frontiere per seguire per primo le loro operazioni di ricerca e soccorso nel canale di Sicilia, operazioni che non sono proprie di un'associazione di medici che fa assistenza umanitaria, ma che ritenevano all'epoca, nel 2015, necessaria per fronteggiare quella sequenza interminabile e drammatica di naufragi con decine di migliaia di morti. Vorrei ricordare, giusto come premessa, che prima dell'intervento di Medici Senza Frontiere, delle navi messe in campo dalle organizzazioni non governative, la ricerca e soccorso veniva effettuata da navi delle rispettive marine militari di alcuni paesi europei che essenzialmente non facevano di meglio che seguire le indicazioni dei loro governi e quindi mettere la prua dal lato opposto dei salvataggi, lasciando morire moltissimi esseri umani. Ultimo di quelli più scandalosi di naufragio è stato quello del 2013, 3 ottobre, al largo a 1,5 miglia dalle coste, dal porto di Lampedusa, una delle isole più a sud dell'Italia, sul canale di Sicilia, dove dopo 8 ore di avaria, una barca che vedeva le luci del porto, abbandonata a se stessa, alla fine si rovescia con tutto il carico umano di 580 eritrei che cercavano con questo viaggio di salvarsi da quella terribile dittatura che è ancora in corso in Eritrea. Quel naufragio ha segnato moltissime coscienze e ha mosso le organizzazioni non governative a tentativo di reazione politica, oltre che naturalmente di azione. Io ho seguito per la mia professione e per interessi anche molto personali conflitti, aree di crisi in giro per il mondo e ho avuto a che fare moltissimo con queste organizzazioni non governative e quindi per questo credo io sia stato chiamato appunto tra i primi a documentare questa realtà per loro inedita di soccorso nel canale di Sicilia, in mare. Quindi non era più che un progetto, non era un progetto, era più che altro un tentativo di venire incontro a un'esigenza che questa organizzazione aveva di far sapere al mondo che loro appunto stavano facendo una cosa straordinaria per essere un'organizzazione di medici, cioè andavano a fare ricerca e soccorso in mare. E io mi sono domandato lì come potevo aiutarli al meglio. Io non sono medico, non sono neanche un marinaio, anche se mi piace molto il mare. Ho dato ovviamente quello che potevo dare come aiuto sulla nave, perché dovete pensare che spesso avevamo più di 1000 persone a bordo di una nave che aveva capacità per 800 e per 2 giorni, quindi serviva anche molto aiuto a bordo per distribuire tavolette di cibo energetico, coperte termiche, eccetera. Spesso lasciavo la macchina fotografica e quando era possibile davo una mano volentieri. Però al di là di questo dettaglio, diciamo, biografico, il punto era come cercare di aiutarli il più possibile nella comunicazione. E io una cosa so fare, le fotografie, qualche volta mi riescono e quindi ho pensato, naturalmente cerco di fare le migliori fotografie e cerco di ottenere l'attenzione dei migliori giornali attraverso la mia agenzia Noor, che è a base ad Amsterdam. Così ho fatto, ma mentre comunque ero a bordo e nei momenti soprattutto di attesa delle segnalazioni che arrivavano, delle segnalazioni relative appunto a richieste di soccorso, ho riflettuto molto sullo stato dei media, cioè sullo stato di salute del giornalismo, e mi sono domandato se fosse bastato soltanto, diciamo, fra virgolette, produrre quello che sapevo e che avevo prodotto a volte e nel passato, cioè un buon reportage di fotografie, se questo fosse bastato o meno. E ho iniziato a vedere quella realtà sotto una luce diversa, perché ho iniziato a darmi una risposta, e cioè cerchiamo di ovviamente il più possibile di occupare lo spazio che è quello della comunicazione sui social networks, della comunicazione, della nuova comunicazione giornalistica, e quindi mi sono rivolto, oltre alla macchina, allo strumento macchina fotografica che avevo con me, a il telefono con cui ho fatto immagini in movimento e ho registrato suoni, e anche piccole micro telecamere che avevo, action cam, che avevo con me, e ho cercato di mettere in piedi un materiale che poteva aiutarmi nelle mie intenzioni, diciamo, a occupare uno spazio diverso oltre a quello tradizionale. Senza, diciamo, avere molta premeditazione in tutto questo, ho seguito appunto le mie intenzioni, e dopo 3 settimane, una volta sbarcato in Italia, in un porto italiano, preparato l'editing, ho fatto la post-produzione, abbiamo distribuito nel circuito nostro la storia, il reportage, è stato comprato da diverse riviste, e quindi, diciamo, in tutto il mondo quella parte lì è andata come previsto. Poi ho lavorato insieme ad altre persone che sanno fare meglio di me questa operazione, cioè di editing, di montaggio, di associazione con i suoni. Insomma, abbiamo lavorato circa 20 giorni alla realizzazione di questo piccolissimo filmato, di 4 minuti neanche, e lo abbiamo fatto vedere agli stessi giornali a cui abbiamo fatto vedere le fotografie, e tutti hanno detto: ma è bellissimo, lo vogliamo, naturalmente gratis. E io ho fatto: scusate, come naturalmente gratis? E dice: sì, perché noi magari ti compriamo qualche fotografia, ma per il nostro sito web noi possiamo pagare al massimo 100-200 euro. Ho detto: guarda, io soltanto di editor e di montaggio e di sound engineer ho speso 2.500 euro, quindi mi sa che non ve lo do a 200 euro, e me lo tengo. E così ho fatto, mano a mano che mi chiedevano di averlo, e molti mi hanno chiesto di averlo, io con soddisfazione dicevo: no, se questa è la cifra che voi potete pagare, evidentemente non avete un business model adatto ai nuovi linguaggi, o forse non vi piace abbastanza il mio prodotto. Fatto sta che a un certo punto, dopo un anno dalla fattura di questo piccolo documentario, e che comunque avevo mandato a qualche premio in giro per il mondo, e negli Stati Uniti il National Press Photographers Photo Press Association, NPPA, assegna a questo lavoro il primo premio per multimedia, reportage, social issue, adesso non mi ricordo bene in quale categoria, comunque prende il primo premio, e loro mi dicono: naturalmente adesso ce lo dai perché hai vinto il primo premio, così lo mettiamo nel nostro sito. Ho detto: no, mi dispiace, non c'è. Voi che mi avete premiato come associazione della press per la fotografia, dovete sapere che non c'è un giornale che è riuscito a pagare neanche le spese che ho avuto per realizzarlo, quindi mi dispiace, non si pubblica gratis, neanche voi che mi avete premiato. E succede che diventa poi invece pubblicato quando un museo, nello specifico il Maxi di Roma, il Museo di Arte Contemporanea, Museo Nazionale di Arte Contemporanea a Roma, fa una interessante rassegna di nuove produzioni di artisti italiani, e mi chiede perché avevano visto, in qualche modo erano riusciti a vedere, un curatore era riuscito a vedere questo video, e mi chiede di poterlo inserire in questa rassegna di artisti italiani che raccontavano l'Italia, una parte dell'Italia contemporanea. Grazie a questa, diciamo, commissione, a questo acquisto, poi i giornali hanno avuto accesso con l'ufficio stampa del museo al video, e quindi è stato poi pubblicato da Internazionale in Italia e in vari altri posti nel mondo. Questo per dire che cosa? Che all'epoca, 2015-2016, non c'era, nonostante sia, insomma, passato pochissimo tempo, ieri praticamente, non c'era un modello che potesse accogliere questi nuovi linguaggi, o questi tentativo, riusciti o meno, possiamo discuterne, di raccontare la realtà in modo più complesso utilizzando sia la fotografia still, ferma, la fotografia tradizionale, che le immagini in movimento. Io mi rifiuto di chiamarli video perché, come avete potuto vedere, questo piccolo documentario non è propriamente adatto alla televisione. C'ha un linguaggio, ho voluto introdurre un linguaggio molto diverso da quello televisivo, pur avendo al suo interno immagini in movimento e suoni. Ci sono molti momenti di assenza di immagini, ovviamente significativo, nel buio della notte. Ci sono momenti in cui in uno schermo televisivo questo buio si potrebbe tradurre in uno specchio che riflette il living room delle persone che ci stanno mangiando davanti. Quindi è un linguaggio fatto più per i mobile device, come si dice, i telefoni, i vari tablet, i computer. E questa era l'intenzione, e con questa intenzione dopo un anno sono riuscito a farlo vedere, e con questa commissione da parte di un museo di arte ho scoperto che ho avuto anche più pubblico, più audience che se fosse stato pubblicato su un giornale, su un sito di un giornale. Perché? Perché naturalmente adesso ci sarebbe tanto da dire, però insomma è sotto gli occhi di tutti che ci sono strumenti di diffusione della comunicazione che sono molto più efficaci della stampa tradizionale e anche della televisione. E credo che quindi questa per me sia stata una lezione. Vi aggiungo che da questo materiale poi ho prodotto altre 2 installazioni che sono state mostrate in musei internazionali e che hanno moltiplicato l'effetto, diciamo, di comunicazione di questo episodio a cui ho assistito, di cui sono stato testimone, che purtroppo, c'è da sottolineare questo, naturalmente è ancora di grande attualità, pur essendo stato fatto nel 2015 si sta ripetendo ormai tristemente lo stesso scenario, se non più complicato ancora, ma insomma continuano a morire e continuano a cercare di impedire alle organizzazioni non governative di essere testimoni e di poter prestare soccorso a chi è in pericolo nel mare, nel canale di Sicilia, tra la Libia e l'Italia. Questo per quanto riguarda questo video, però devo dire che voi siete partiti parlando e facendo vedere le immagini di Paul Fusco, che sì, erano state fatte per una rivista, ma quella rivista non le pubblicò mai. Quelle immagini del funeral train sono rimaste in un cassetto per 40 anni. Furono pubblicate la prima volta grazie a un editor di Magnum che riuscì a trovarle e a capire che cosa stava vedendo per la prima volta, ma che sarà 15-18 anni fa neanche. E quindi sono passati tantissimi anni dal momento in cui Paul fece quelle foto a quando poi quelle foto furono diffuse e conosciute. Giusto per dire un altro esempio di come non necessariamente ci sia una coincidenza tra la consapevolezza dei nuovi linguaggi e capacità anche di raccontare la realtà in modo più complesso e inusuale, nel caso di Paul, con questa ripetizione, con questa sensibilità, con questo occhio attento a un sentimento che non si voleva quasi neanche riconoscere negli Stati Uniti all'epoca in cui furono scattate quelle foto. È riuscito a portare, e grazie anche a quel cassetto che le ha conservate dentro Magnum per tutti quegli anni, a portare a noi un frammento, un visionario di un'America che non c'è più, che non esiste più. E questo mi presta il fianco per aggiungere un'altra cosa, cioè che il giornalismo oggi ha una sfida importante, che è quella sì di riflettere e di interpretare il cambiamento che è di fatto imposto dai lettori, perché sono i lettori che ci stanno dicendo che preferiscono ricevere le notizie, per la gran parte naturalmente con le debite eccezioni, sui nuovi device, sui nuovi strumenti elettronici. Però deve anche riuscire a prestare fede a linguaggi che sono anche magari i meno cliccati, i meno amati, i più difficili da comprendere, perché sono quelli che poi potrebbero restituirci un domani, perché il giornalismo è anche creazione del documento storico, cioè una dimensione di non soltanto di consumo della notizia, ma anche di creazione di spessore storico. Quindi dobbiamo ricordarci che abbiamo questo ruolo fondamentale e quindi oggi una delle sfide del giornalismo è quella appunto di non solo grazie ai nuovi produttori di notizie giovani, ma anche a tutti gli attori coinvolti, da Magnum ai grandi foto editor, ai fotografi professionisti che vengono affiancati dai fotografi, nuovi fotografi di device con la lente, di mobile, smartphones, come si dice, ecco. E che sono indispensabili, sono tutti indispensabili, tutti questi attori, ma tutti sono chiamati a questa responsabilità di consapevolezza della complessità e della creazione di senso e di documento storico che nel momento in cui facciamo notizia portiamo con noi. È parte del DNA e questo ci potrebbe anche aiutare a capire che è necessaria un'ecologia dei contenuti giornalistici, nel senso una consapevolezza di come si produce il contenuto giornalistico, in questo caso di immagini, per non continuare a ripetere cose che abbiamo già visto. Dobbiamo saperci fermare di fronte al già noto e indagare invece qual è la particolare, grazie alla virtù dell'immagine, che è quella, come hai ricordato tu all'inizio, Francesca all'inizio hai ricordato che un'immagine ha questa capacità di rimanere o di entrare dentro di noi con più precisione e rimanere più a lungo nel momento in cui ha questa caratteristica speciale di non essere già vista, ed è quella la difficoltà. E questo sforzo comune deve portarci a un miglioramento e un processo anche di apprendimento molto complesso che credo che sia già iniziato, ma di cui vediamo siamo solo agli albori, agli inizi, che sarà un bel processo complesso. Io sono molto positivo rispetto a tutte queste novità, credo che siamo molto indietro, paradossalmente anche noi in Italia, come educazione. Dico paradossalmente perché vorrei ricordare all'audience qui presente che in Italia è stata inventata una piccola cosa che ci consente ancora oggi di usare le immagini come linguaggio di comunicazione, che è la prospettiva. Un bel po' di secoli fa è stata inventata la prospettiva in Italia, però senza la prospettiva oggi non ci sarebbe neanche la fotografia, quindi eppure da noi non si insegna educazione visiva nelle scuole. Bisogna andare ai licei artistici, bisogna frequentare certi corsi universitari, nelle scuole non si insegna più educazione artistica, non si insegna più educazione visiva, non si è mai insegnata di fatto. E quindi c'è proprio bisogno di un'alfabetizzazione che riguarda anche poi il mondo dell'informazione, naturalmente.
Thank you, Francesco. There's a lot to digest there. We don't have much time. You know, I'm going to leave aside the question of the business model. It's a question that's part of all of these sessions. With a little bit of time we have left, I think some of the subjects that have been touched on by everyone so far is more about what they call the attention economy, right? And so the context of this also is Instagram. We had Dan talk us through what essentially was one Instagram post, but we all know that Instagram often gets consumed like this, right? And everything risks being consumed in a very shallow and elusive way, which points to this challenge, which Francesco just pointed out about teaching people how to look at images, and then it can be a virtuous cycle, and then photography can have the value in all the senses of the word that it once had, and that it should have again. This is also a segue for my little project, which Francesco has been a part of, which gets a little bit to this point in terms of looking. We saw in his 4-minute video, don't call it a video, but the mini documentary was a great way to get people to look at photographs. If you can get them in front of their screen or in front of their phone and keep them there for 4 minutes. This other project that I've been developing, it tries to do it in 1 minute and with one photo. I'm just gonna play it. And this is always Francesco Zizola. No, wrong one. That's not Francesco's. No, am I not connected? Voilà.
Questa fotografia è stata scattata all'alba e dopo 2 giorni di navigazione con a bordo più di 1000 persone salvate in diverse occasioni nei giorni precedenti. Ci stavamo avvicinando alle coste del porto di Crotone in Calabria. Hanno passato la notte sul ponte, all'aria, alle temperature rigide della notte e quindi hanno ancora addosso queste coperte termiche che li hanno aiutati appunto a non soffrire troppo il freddo. Questi sguardi, queste espressioni portano con sé, io credo, tutto il dramma, la difficoltà e tutta la loro speranza anche.
So I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but just quickly in terms of this question of looking for new ways to capture and keep people's attention and to get them to really look at a photo and understand it. I mean, we've already touched on it with both Fran and Dan as well. That rhymes. Any thoughts that come to mind after Francesco's discussion, and also, you know, we don't have to leave the business model. It's all related. So I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, Fran, about what, you know, you walked us through many of these sorts of projects quickly. Again, the attention economy. But I guess that's you're thinking about that a lot as well. How to get people and keep people paying attention to photography.
Yes, so we do have photographers that shoot video. We have found that they tend to find that they have to shoot still imagery at one point in time, video at another point in time, in order to have a different way of thinking about things. And yes, we're not compensated for that, for sure. But our clients certainly expect us to shoot video as well as stills for at least 50% of what we do. So we do try to build it into the business model. But in terms of the end user, the client being a media partner, they don't pay for it. And they haven't paid for it from the beginning. I think we've been waiting for that economy to come along, but it's not worked out. As far as I understand, though, maybe Dan, you'll know. But subscribers, you know, so this perhaps brings us back to the discussion we've yet to have about trusted sources, trusted media. So, you know, with the sea of potential places you could go to receive your news or to have in-depth coverage on subjects, you know, we're all looking for where to go that's going to be, you know, giving us the most information that is unusual to us, that is to be trusted, that we can believe in. And so subscribers have gone up. So I think Wall Street Journal, Nat Geo, New York Times, to a degree The Guardian, all have subscriber bases which are on the increase, which is a good sign because most of us of a certain age are happy to pay for their news. But I think that's not true of the younger crowd. But anyway, it's, happy to say that some subscribers are on the increase, which will obviously help finance some of the more interactive forms of storytelling.
Just so I don't repeat, I guess, maybe what was the question again? Something, I just want to be able to give somebody here something that might be good.
No, just in terms of, you know, maybe this is a chance to get to put your Wall Street Journal hat on, and in terms of, we were talking on the ride up here about you as a photo editor, as a news photo editor, and you get paid at least to go through all of these images that are coming across our feeds, and you know, your job is to find that image, or potentially it's a multimedia thing if you've got more time and resources. Is there something about how what you're looking for, knowing that people are distracted?
Well, I'll tell you one. This Fran kid right over here, he's got a future. He's good. I want him to stick with it. He's good at it. But he said so much of it right there. He demanded a price for his product. If you want his product, you have to pay for it. So that is hard to do, and it's very hard to do when you're very young, especially, or if you desperately need rent and so on. But doing that, standing by that, ups the value of the product. Not everybody can do that. Nobody can do that. One person can do that. One person in the team he assembled. Plus, he had a story to tell. MSF does a job. He's fascinated by that job. What is it that he can do to tell that story, and who is his audience? His audience, from where I stand, sounds like he wants the most people to know it as possible. So where are the most people? How are they consuming it? He did research on where it was. The photos are beautiful. The composition's stunning. It's consistent. It's from one editorial eye. If I had that kind of stuff coming to me, I'd be like, this is fascinating. What is going on? He was on a boat with MSF. He had done his research. He had gone out there. He had already done it. The thing is, that job was done. And that job, obviously, is an amazing end product. As a possible consumer of this news, at that point, I've got the choice to either buy in at the price and be part of it, or turn it down, and that story's going on with me or without me. And for me, that's an amazing thing, because then I'm going to miss, pardon the pun, but I'll miss the boat on this thing. If this guy is doing this product already, the product's already there. Someone else is going to get it. He already did it. He had a story to tell. He told it very well. It's also a story that I could pitch to somebody else. I was like, this guy went out on a boat with MSF. He took amazing photographs. He has this thing ready for social. It's ready for video. We've got stills. We can do a slideshow. We can do interviews with the photographer. We can do interviews with people that he photographed. We can do interviews with people on the boat. We can do interviews with members of governments who are not letting people into the country. We can do interviews with people. The thing is, this is a story. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and an end. It has protagonists, it has antagonists. It has something that I want that I can only get from him. That's a story, and that's what I do. If you give me a picture, you got to give me the story too. A lot of people can go out and take great pictures, but then if the thing is, he's got a story. That's what we do. We're in the story business, and so it's amazing. And I would say, with a pitch like that ultimately maybe it doesn't fit with whatever publication you're working for. Maybe for whatever reason your publication doesn't do that kind of thing or whatever. But even if that was true, I would say, but I'm going to get you in touch with somebody who does do this kind of thing, because it's really well done. And I want to support people doing this kind of work. I want to support you doing this work. You are right. I'm not going to pay you enough, so therefore, let's go find somebody who will. I would help a person do that, even if it would never be to the detriment of my publication, but it would be to the benefit of somebody that I can't work with now maybe, but want to work with in the future, or I want to just in general keep working. So that's what I would say.
I think the story too of how it finally did get get paid for and get seen what's the word, edifying, I think we should probably open it up to a few questions. If anyone has any specific questions for any of the panelists or general questions about any aspiring photographers out there, photojournalists, any thoughts, questions? Yep, there's one. Try again.
Hello?
There you go.
My name is Mohammed and I'm studying in Germany Media and Communication Science. And my question is from Francesco, had done great job, but there are some problems to, cover humanitarian crisis. So refugees was one of them. And it's very hard for photographers to catch images and those faces who are struggling to in a life or death, and it's very hard for photographers and the videographers to catch those faces and to tell the stories. And there are some researches about journalists face traumatization or psychological problems later on after this type of crisis. So did you get any trainings, or did you suggest how photographers or the young people or the journalists who are getting into the field, how they should ready to face these type of challenges to save themselves from the trauma or the emotional attachment, some kind of this?
Che risponde in italiano o in inglese? Italiano. Allora, io credo una cosa, che avere a che fare con il racconto di esseri umani che sono in uno stato di sofferenza o di pericolo non è certamente il primo passo che io suggerirei di fare a un studente o un giovane fotografo. Cioè, e quella è, io credo, non un punto di arrivo, ma insomma una tappa che si può affrontare, che si dovrebbe affrontare quando la maturità sia di padronanza del linguaggio che di padronanza della materia è almeno ai minimi, cioè si può dire soddisfacente, perché nel giornalismo, in cui c'è l'obbligo di raccontare delle notizie, c'è anche però un'altra, io credo, un'altra cosa importante, che è l'aspetto etico, di cui ancora non abbiamo detto niente, c'è pochissimo tempo, però provo a dare un brevissimo spunto su questo. Cioè noi giornalisti abbiamo sì l'obbligo di raccontare i fatti, però abbiamo anche l'obbligo di rispettare le persone che di questi fatti sono vittime o protagonisti, soprattutto la loro dignità. Questo aspetto dovrebbe aiutarci, una volta approfondito, e come si approfondisce studiando, cercando di avere delle proprie idee, non soltanto la missione di raccontare una cosa, ma anche delle proprie idee su quelle cose che andiamo a raccontare, dei nostri propri sentimenti, delle nostre proprie profonde considerazioni, e anche un rispetto per le persone che sono coinvolte in quei fatti. Allora, quando queste domande portano a interrogarsi, a approfondire, a relazionarci con quelle realtà, solo allora, se noi poi siamo anche in grado di tradurre tutto questo in un linguaggio comprensibile, solo allora io penso che uno può provare a relazionarsi con queste sofferenze. In questo caso, per fortuna, non tutto il giornalismo ha a che fare con la sofferenza, ma in questo caso ovviamente sì. quindi serve una certa responsabilità a priori. Dopodiché, chiaramente, noi giornalisti che frequentiamo il dolore delle persone, e se lo frequentiamo con senso di responsabilità e con intelligenza, ne subiamo anche gli effetti. Non si può pensare di andare a fotografare o raccontare guerre, conflitti o conseguenze delle guerre e dei conflitti senza tornare indietro con un proprio bagaglio di dolore. E questo può, da una parte, paralizzarci, e succede, oppure può portarci ad avere ancora maggiore rispetto e ancora maggiore consapevolezza della necessità di avere un linguaggio articolato e rispettoso di questo dolore di questi esseri umani. È un processo che di solito si sceglie. Questa parte qui del lavoro del giornalista non è quasi mai un obbligo per il giornalista. Anche nelle televisioni, quando propongono alle persone di andare negli scenari di guerra o negli scenari difficili di grandi crisi umanitarie, perché serve un'attitudine, serve una sensibilità particolare. Poi abbiamo visto, ci sono molti esempi di persone che non sono sensibili e non hanno attitudine, e i risultati si vedono. Come si vedono? Si vedono quando le immagini sono piatte, non raccontano nulla, non aggiungono nulla, continuano a creare rumore. Questa è una parte etica, diciamo, importante, che io credo che sia un corollario indispensabile, soprattutto un consiglio che do ai giovani, ma anche non solo ai giovani, per poter, diciamo, tornare a casa, non dico integri perché psicologicamente si è sempre molto provati, però con una consapevolezza di aver cercato almeno, se non avercela fatta, almeno cercato di aver realizzato un racconto che possa aggiungere qualcosa e possa in qualche modo anche aiutare quelle realtà, quelle persone. Come? Dando una voce, amplificando una realtà che altrimenti li condannerebbe per sempre nell'ombra mediatica, si dice, no? E dopodiché uno ha a che fare con i propri traumi e con i propri fantasmi. Ci sono delle volte che non si dorme bene per mesi, se non per anni.
We'll take one last question. We ran a little long and we got to wrap it up, but there's one last question there.
My name is Laura and I'm studying international journalism in Belgium. And my question was kind of to all of you. Do you think that within a few years, journalists will be using their smartphone more often to take photographs than using an actual photo camera?
I think maybe we can, if you flip the question, it's will non-photographers, non-professional photographers' photos that they take with their smartphones replace photographs taken with proper cameras by professional photographers. I think, you know, it opens up all kinds of questions about what is journalism? It's an endless question, but also how journalism gets distributed. And you know, we talked about it, about Instagram, and that's where most people, social media is where people are seeing their images taken by journalists, paid, professional, trained journalists, and others. And so I think the instruments that we have access to, we're going to use them, and we're going to publish them. We being everybody, and it may already be there that we're actually you already may be consuming more images in the news space that are taken with a smartphone by professionals and non-professionals alike.
Yeah, I mean, there are already professional photographers using cell phones, and there's no problem with that at all, because you want to, the best camera, I mean, the saying is the best camera is the one you have. So I think at one point there might have been some sort of shame or something like, oh, that's not like crafted with, you know, this particular expensive camera or something. But more and more, it's people want that exact moment. And if you happen to have this big, large, fancy, expensive camera, then great. But if you just have a cell phone, you can use that too. But you do always need a caption. You need a caption at all times.
Maybe we can close on that note. And it gets back to the question of the story. I think, as Dan put it, and as Francesco showed us, and as Magnum has been showing us for 70 years, the images can be powerful, can be beautiful, but they're the most useful and the most enriching when they have a story to tell. So thank you all for coming out, and we're all here to take any further questions. One last thing. One last thing. Fran has you are lucky to be here for another reason. Fran's got one last thing to say.
We have just launched our first free newspaper at Magnum called Magnum Chronicles, and the first issues, hot off the press, literally arrived this morning, and they're out there for you to collect. It's our first initiative of trying to create free newspapers for everybody, and we're trying to distribute as widely as possible, so we're starting with you. And enjoy.
And another last thing, sorry. Just, I think what he said was very true about visual literacy. So, look, I'm here till Saturday. It looks like through the graciousness of being here, a lot of people started following me on Instagram. If anybody wants to DM me and talk photos, I'm here for days. Professional photo editor, we can talk. We can look at your pictures. We can, just saying, we can do that if you want.
Can I show my Instagram?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay.
Thank you.